I think one of the craziest roller coaster elements ever built has just been fully completed. Because yes, that right in front of you is indeed an upside down stall launch. What are ride manufacturers cooking nowadays? But theme parks are also cooking as well, because we've had brand new rides open, demolition progress, very unexpected queue times, and even a wheel flying off of a roller coaster. Maybe that one's the opposite of cooking. Yeah, it has been a ridiculous week, because all that and even more has happened this past week in theme parks. Yes, welcome back to the news series, which is so consistent that even I don't know when the next episode's posting. This past week in theme parks, where we take a look at the past week in theme park news. You would never have guessed that, would you? And oh boy, today there is quite a few interesting news stories. So be sure you watch till the end and be sure to subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't already. Like I said, this is a weekly news series keeping you up to date on all things theme parks, so you'd be silly to miss it each week. So yes, subscribe so you don't miss it. And as we get into this episode, there is so much news to cover that I'm gonna have to try and get through it as quick as possible. And luckily, we have a certain quickfire segment where we can do that. Let's go! Starting right here at home in the UK. Yes, I haven't started in the UK for ages because everything is happening elsewhere for once. Ooh. Starting at Legoland Windsor, where things aren't really being built, but rather destroyed, as the 4D theatre in the corner of the park has now been fully removed. And even Viking River Splash, their old River Rapids ride that hasn't seen the light of day for so many years, will now never see the light of day again, as it is being demolished as well. Talking of demolition, I saw a very sad video on TikTok, me when I'm talking about the sound a clock makes, of the old Flambards theme park that did close quite a while back now, completely destroyed as well. Just all rubble, and there's barely anything left now, which is extremely sad. But knowing the UK theme park industry, that won't be the last theme park to get that treatment. Not the last rides to get that treatment either, because at Thorpe Park, they have also been busy demolishing Rumba Rapids. There's so much destruction today. I'm gonna blow up. But shout out to Theme Park Guide for these images and speculation, but there's a load of like sawdust, or it looks a bit like sand, that has appeared over the trough, and some new wooden beams have appeared, and a lot of people are now thinking Thorpe Park are going to use that trough and that space for a brand new scare maze, and it really would not surprise me. Luckily though, Alton Towers aren't destroying anything, and instead are continuing on with Project Horizon, their indoor roller coaster, which now appears to be moving forward very slowly. But if you want to hear all about that and all the updates happening at Alton Towers, I recently released a video about that. Go and check that out after this one. And another project I have many videos on this channel already of is the Universal Studios theme park coming to the UK. I just wanted to point out, on the day of uploading this, it has been 1 year since the initial announcement and that concept art being released. 1 year already. Hopefully the next 5 go that quick. But as always, I'll be keeping you up to date on that project throughout my entire life. As we travel over to Europe, but before we get there, we're sort of stuck in the air midway. I went on the internet and I found these. Yes, that is a little flat ride in a warehouse. Can't fault the theming on that. And this one right here, if you've ever been on depth charge at Thorpe Park, that person has sat down in a boat ready to go down the conveyor belt that brings back the boats to the top of the station. And this brand new app exists called Credit, which is a soon-to-be released coaster tracking app where you can count how many creds you've done, make many different lists, track your parks, and even be able to compare your stats with your friends. It's a very exciting app coming very soon, and if you want to sign up your interest to it, you can via the link in the description or in the top comments, because there's a few features on that I'm very interested to see and I'll be using in multiple different videos. So stay tuned for that. And before we land, a bizarre record has been shattered again, where a Rollercoaster Tycoon roller coaster lasts an unbelievably long time, 2 × 10 to the power of 227 years. It's no longer what a ride manufacturer's cooking, it's more so what a gamer's cooking. But as I land over in Europe, there is something that could have easily made it into that segment, which is when Gudrix at Parc Asterix seemingly was going around its layout and lost a wheel and started making a horrible noise. Yeah, that ride was not pleasant anyway. this sounds even worse. And hopefully they can get to the bottom of that problem. Quickly though, there was a big problem at a park in Belgium, at Baldwin Sea Park, where an amusement park ride malfunctioned, injured 7, including 5 children. Luckily nothing more than that, but I hope those 7 people that were injured are okay, because pretty much a drop tower attraction at that park unexpectedly fell from about 13 feet in the air. So hopefully they can get to the bottom of that problem as well. Back in France now for the rest of these stories. Le Mur de Sable reopens on April 11th, and they've come up with a very strange rainy day guarantee, where when buying a ticket you can add rain insurance for an additional €2 on top of your ticket, so you can return to the park if more than 4 millimeters of rain falls during your visit. Can't tell if that's a good idea or a really bad one. Valkyrie, the new Vekoma boomerang at Parc Festyland, that has now been testing with a full POV now being shown on their socials, and every time I find these POVs, they're all filmed in vertical. Please start filming them landscape again. A brand new coaster has opened at another park as well, at Parc Spirou, with the brand new Kyubi Unchained, which is a Naruto themed roller coaster. The whole area and that ride have now opened to the public, and we can see a full POV of it launching off and going around this layout and then coming back through the station, where it then heads left through a switch track into a few more hills and then reversing down a spike all the way back to the station. A very unique ride, and it seems like a perfect fit for that park. I'm really enjoying these really weird and confusing switch track coasters at the minute. Please start making more of them. I enjoy. And finishing off in Europe with the biggest theme park in the entire continent, Disneyland Paris, where I wanted to point out a few things, because not only are they celebrating the 20th birthday of Buzz Lightyear's Ranger Blaster Spin, whatever it's called, which is important because that is the last new ride that opened at Disneyland Park in Paris. 20 years, come on man, please give us a new ride. Not only over in Adventure World with Frozen opening last week, did someone manage to spot that Cars Road Trip had a longer wait time than the Frozen Ever After ride. And on top of all, we might have already seen this in the past, but I can't remember, they've shown in new images a model of what the new Lion King ride boats are going to look like. And with the construction time that they're sort of saying for that project, it might be another 5 years till we get to actually ride in those boats. But Disney does segue us nicely into the Americas as I quickly walk over. I look like, why am I waddling? I'm like, the duck walks up to the left. Gracefully landing in the USA, although I should have crashed down like King Dakar did, because that's probably more related to this part. Starting at Walt Disney World, where they have now announced that Big Thunder Mountain will be opening on May the 3rd, after an extremely long, extensive refurbishment. And also over at Hollywood Studios, the brand new Monsters Inc. roller coaster that's coming, that has now officially gone vertical. How exciting is that? That is going to be one of the most mental rides if they do it correctly, and I'm sure they will. So very excited to see that. Georgia Gold Rusher at Six Flags over Georgia, obviously, seems to be completely broken. Guess you could say it broke. I'm fed up of using that video. And with it being dead, people have spotted some brand new metal fins appearing on the actual spikes that could be to do with the actual train spinning, and the train is sort of just sat there, and I forget how much like a skateboard the train looks like. Anyone want to hit an ollie on Georgia Gold Rusher? Talking of the Six Flags chain over at Kings Island, they have now showcased more of the retrack they've been doing for the Beast. Looking very, very nice. Flight deck at Canada's Wonderland has now been renamed to the Daredeviler. What a name! With some potential AI art as well. Oh God. Excitement has sparked for Six Flags Great America, where Raging Bull has had some new stairs put in. Whoa! This past week in stair replacements. And finally moving over to Six Flags Great Adventure, where not only have they now announced Barrels of Fun is the name for their brand new roller coaster for this year, with these nice barrel sort of trains and this blue sort of colour scheme, but of course they have been very busy building their new Mack Rides Purple roller coaster, coincidentally named Project Purple, in place of the previous world's tallest roller coaster, King Dakar. And as much as last week they had installed the entire launch track and then they started going up into this sort of zero-G stall, what I don't think a lot of us expected was when the actual stall was finished, it would look like this and have an upside down launch on it. I mean, we thought Voltron at Europa Park was mental, going up in a launch like that, and Mack Rides have gone, you know what, we're going to make a spinning coaster that goes upside down into a stall and launches whilst it's upside down. And yes, you may have just heard me correctly if you don't know about the rumours of this ride. This is looking like it will be a Mack spinning roller coaster, which if that is the case and it goes through that launch upside down in a stall, Oh my god, you'll just be spinning. Hang on, let me... Spinning upside down, ready? Wait, hang on, I forgot to launch whilst doing that. Flip me upside down again. Ready? We're going to launch and spin. Yeah, it is absolutely ridiculous to see that entire element come together, and I just can't believe it's got a launch. Like, it was crazy enough anyway, launching into that, but knowing it's got an upside down launch on it, man, Mack rides are just ridiculous. I don't know where they get their ideas from. First you had that massive Outer Banks roll down into a barrel roll or whatever on Hyperia. Then you've got Voltron's Beyond Vertical Launch, Stardust Racers, the Celestial Spin. They built Ride to Happiness many years ago and thought, oh, we can make that way better. And now they're building this. I know I said I'm sad that King Dakar was gone, and I'm still enraged that I never got to ride it, because had I known it was going to close, I would have gone out there to ride it. But I can't lie, I will try and get out there as soon as I can to ride this when it opens, because it just looks insane. And with that project now reaching about 60% complete, I think they said, that means a lot of the speculation is probably correct, where it will go into that stall and then head straight up into this massive spike, or a phantom spire you might call it, twist round the top and then come back down. And it would make sense because this has been found regarding the project, saying that a certain structure's height will be 375 feet tall, which does make me think that the actual spike itself will be that tall. And that spike has actually began work. You can see supports right at the bottom of where it's going to be, going up very, very slowly, and this thing is going to tower above that skyline. And I'm really excited to see how it rides. I'm very intrigued what the capacity is going to be like as well, because hopefully they've got some sort of dual load station so it can run 2 trains, because if not, I think we have a problem. What do you guys think to this brand new roller coaster coming to Six Flags Great Adventure? And what do you think to the rest of this insane news? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode. And if you want to hear all about the chaos that happened last week, then go and check out this episode right here. Last week's episode. There was a lot happening. I can't lie to you. And also, whilst you do that and whilst you click on that, I'm going to spin and launch upside down again. Goodbye.